You and I both know most small businesses, they can't afford to have a content writer, 2 graphic designers, a web developer, a 3D modeler, like a strategist, like all of the bits and pieces that make up your marketing department, a videographer, like they don't have any of these people. And you can't afford to literally, you're going to get lucky and hire one person that does all of those things? Not really. And so that's where people like me come in, and I get to be that support system for a small business that, no matter what they're looking for, I have the answer, because I've worked in the big lane. I've worked with big marketing budgets. I've created and done pretty much everything that you could possibly do.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedlack, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Alicia. Alicia, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me on your show. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Sure. My name is Alicia Branham. I am located in Salt Lake City, Utah, so out west. I run a digital, I run a creative and marketing firm. I specialize in kind of like the digital side. So that's what I do.
I love it. How did you get into digital marketing as your thing?
I grew into that. So I'm a creative by trade, right? So I've been a graphic designer and a marketing director and a art director and all the titles you have in my little lane, right, for a lot of years. And then, as society changes and doing business changes, I dig deep into the digital side, because it's a very visual world that we live in right now. And so it's important to me that all the clients that I serve look the best that they can in every platform in any way, shape, form possible, right? So
I love it. So in your transition from kind of what I'm going to call the corporate world and the titles to working with people, I'm assuming entrepreneurs, but who would you say you work with the most? Is it entrepreneurs, small business, large business? Who's your kind of audience now? Who seeks you out the most?
Sure. I do a lot of work with small businesses, so large corporations. I do some work for, but for the most part, I work with a lot of small business owners in a specific lane. And so my background, my real background and the big selling feature about me, if you work with me, is that I have a background in PVF, pipes, valves, and fittings. Very obscure. Who would have a background in that? I do. Right. And so as a marketing professional in this lane, I serve a lot of people in it. So manufacturer representatives or manufacturers of a specific product in the plumbing, construction, industrial, commercial lanes. And so I've niched down in what I do. And what's great for me is that I love helping others and I love being of service, and I get to combine that passion with my strengths as what I do in my creative and in my marketing business to help my clients, right? To have them, have their best foot forward and looking their best, and, making sure that, they're marketing themselves and their story is on point for where they want to be, right? So I do a lot of second and third generation run businesses, which I love. And so being able to help them continue that legacy that maybe their father or their grandfather started is just pure joy for me.
Nice. I love it, because to look at you, and I mean, this is not a compliment. You're so cute and everything is so picture perfect, adorable. And then you go working with the big burly guys to get the marketing done. It's like, that's actually a perfect fit.
So as a creative, right, as someone who's a creative person and anyone in business, you might have a dream of like, I want to serve a big box label, and I want to serve restaurants and bakeries, and you want to get into that lane, right? You want to do the thing. But those are also things that can come and go. And so the lanes that I serve, this is consistent. This is a consistent industry. It does not stop. And so I learned to appreciate the gift that the universe gave me of a consistent, revenue inside of my business. And when you work with me, as like, if you land on my calendar as a client, you don't leave. And so my customers have been on my roster for years, right? Because I am basically I act like your marketing department. you and I both know most small businesses, they can't afford to have a content writer, 2 graphic designers, a web developer, a 3D modeler, like a strategist, like all of the bits and pieces that make up your marketing department, a videographer, like they don't have any of these people, and you can't afford to literally, what, you're going to get lucky and hire one person that does all of those things? Not really. And so that's where people like me come in, and I get to be that support system for a small business that, no matter what they're looking for, I have the answer, because I've worked in the big lane. I've worked with big marketing budgets. I've created and done pretty much everything that you could possibly do as a marketing professional. And so I have the answer. You've got a problem, I've got the answer. So.
Well, and I don't think, especially small businesses, don't realize how much work goes into it. When you get the privilege of being able to walk into a big company and you see their marketing department, anybody that has, the CMO, the creative director, the videographer department, the creative visual department, the animation department, and like there's 5 people in each one of those, and we're not even touching on the people that put your emails together, the copywriters, everybody else. It is a fantastic visual to see, and then to bring that down into small business and go, okay, now how do we ask Alicia to get this job done? Because my favorite thing when people go is, I just need a landing page. I go, a landing page for what? Oh, this event that we're doing. It's like, you don't just need a landing page for an event that you're doing. And they don't realize the plethora of work that goes on behind that. So I appreciate it. And I want to talk to the audience about kind of being able to wrap their mind around, I don't just need somebody to post social media for me. I need you because of this breadth and width. Talk to me about that breadth and width of kind of what they don't understand.
Sure. So when you're running a small business, right? And that's like, it doesn't matter if your small business is $50,000 or $5 million. I think that's still considered a small business. I forget what that dollar amount is. So even if you're in the millions, you're still considered a small business. So don't feel bad with the term small business, because it applies to really almost everyone you see out there versus the mega corps. Right.
And I think actually in the States, I think small business is still up to something ridiculous like 50 or 100 million. So it's like, oh, really?
No, it is. And so, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, when it comes to kind of quote unquote small business, anybody that doesn't have, an 80-person marketing department, what breadth and width you need? No, it's all good. I tend to ask about 28 questions, so you can take it anywhere you want.
That's fine. No, you're like me. I do the same thing. So here it is. So as we all grow our small businesses, we all think that I'll do that. I'm going to save money. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I could do all these things. It doesn't take a lot of effort. I could do the thing. And so you, as a small business owner, all of a sudden now you're carrying, okay, well, I'm taking this on, and I'm going to take this on. And then, okay, great. Well, yeah, I got this too. Yeah, sure. I could do all this and run a business and go get new sales and all. There's my visuals. You asked me for visuals. Clearly you put it in my head. But us as business owners, we think we're going to do the thing ourselves because it's easy and simple. And even if you can, should you? The answer is no. I've had to learn that in my own business, right? Could I do my own bookkeeping services? Absolutely. Have I had a bookkeeper for the past 5 years? You bet I have, right? Because my time is better served not doing things like that. Just like, for instance, the things that I do. So if you were to hire my firm to do your social media engagement, for instance, right? We get a real overview of your business, what your story is, what the goals are. And we handle that 100% for you. And so most of our clients are looking for a set it and forget it kind of thing. Not that they want to not participate, but they need to go be landing multi-million-dollar deals. That's what you need to be doing. You don't need to be fiddling around with social media. You don't need to be fiddling around with things that, no offense, are just beneath you as a business owner, right? Sometimes you have to really look at the fact that you are doing your own business a disservice by trying to take on too many things, right? And you're better served trying to outsource specific areas of your business to make your life easier. It'll give you more free time to do what's most important, which is bringing in sales to your business. Because that's the most important thing. So you can have all the rest of it behind the scenes, but if you don't have the sales coming in the door, Okay. And it's not social media. And if you were like, if that's your lane, or if that's something that you need assistance with, that's just one piece of your puzzle, because then you've got email marketing and you've got your own face-to-face events that you need to go to, right? So if you're so say like in my industry, there are a plethora, I like to use that word today. It's one of my favorite words. There are a plethora of events you can go to in my space, right? Whether it's heating and cooling, or big mega trade show, or some of the associations, they all have, they have events quarterly or monthly in specific areas. Like it's so you've got to get out there, and you've got to be building your business, and you're not going to be out there building your business in doing some of these behind the scenes that you think I can just do it. And it's never going to get done, and it's not going to get done the way you want. And then you're going to beat yourself up for not getting it done, and you're putting too much pressure on yourself, and it's too much stress. And when you hire an expert, all that goes away for you, because people like me, we have your best interests at heart. You hire us for a specific job. So that means that my clients that talk to me, maybe we have one meeting a month, and then we, at the beginning of the month, we work 30 days ahead too. So I don't run by the seat of my pants. I'm a well-oiled machine. So we run a full 30 days ahead, so that we're never running late. We're never running by the seat of our pants, because who wants to do business that way? Not me. And I don't want that for my clients. They deal with enough of that. And so it's very flawless. So they get one email. Hey, here's what we talked about. Here's our plan for the month. And then, please approve. And we always give the source of where we're getting the information from. So like if I'm selling a valve product or a toilet or a piping system or whatever, I need to show where the source comes from, because I do not write content about piping products. I take it directly from the manufacturer, because that's very smart and prudent and safe. Right? But you don't have to worry about any of that, because we do that for you, right? We take care of your needs, whether it's, hey, so-and-so, offered me a space in a newsletter, and I don't have an ad, and can you help me with that? You always want to have your best foot forward. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care if you're a hairdresser, a mechanic, a car detailer, a florist. It doesn't matter. Anybody in any income range can look you up on one of these.
Phone.
Any part of the world. And
Right?
so maybe you might want to care about what you look like. Just saying. Doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year, because if you look good here, then people are going to want to do business with you. They think that you care enough to invest time in yourself and the way your business looks, your story, your messaging. It's not just thrown out there or non-existent. If you're a business without a story out there, if you're a business and you're not on LinkedIn, I don't understand. Like, we should talk. You should call me so I could talk you off that ledge.
Right? Because something's stopping them, and it's like, I don't. Yeah, you need to go over there. And to me, there's this kind of crash and burn that happens in the world of entrepreneurs. And I'm assuming that most people are coming to you when they've lost their social media person. They've been ghosted. It's like, oh, we need somebody to do this. How do you transition them from that panic mode and getting attacked by alligators and fires to being able to plan out 30 days? Which doesn't sound like a lot, but in my experience, to be able to get them thinking that far ahead, kind of takes some ramp up.
We do a lot on a discovery call. So when we're sitting down talking about your conversation and onboarding you as a client, we sit around and we talk. We literally analyze what you've got going on. We see what we've done, and we just dig in, right? Fortunately for me, a lot of the people that I serve, they either done it very barely, or they forced a salesperson internally to do that work. So you're going to find that a lot of the business tricks is, well, you're in sales, you do social media, right? It's selling social media. Sort of the same. Not really. You want your sales guy landing that $500,000 deal. You don't want him messing around with a social media post, in my humble opinion, right? But a lot of the people that come to me are coming to me with that situation, where they've expected someone internally to do that work. It hasn't panned out because they're busy. That same person they're expecting to do social media internally is also doing your training or running sales or doing troubleshooting. Do they really need that on their plate? And so sometimes as a business, we think it's smart to include other people to do some of the things that really they also have no business doing it either. So it's not just the ownership, but it may be your internal team that you're pressing to do things that really they have no business doing. And so maybe you're better off analyzing what your team is doing and seeing, if their energies could be better spent, getting more sales for you, building more relationship in the community, solidifying your brand in the states and territories that you serve, right?
Absolutely. So when it comes to kind of working with you and building out their plans, you said it starts with the discovery meeting, and then kind of what do people need to prepare for that ahead of time, or do you kind of pull the information you need out of them during that meeting?
A
How
whole
does that go?
onboarding process. So for me, I have a whole onboarding process. So when someone signs up as a new client with my team, because I do this like clockwork, they get a introductory welcome email to the company, and it tells them everything they need to know. And I have onboarding forms that they have to fill out. Sorry, I'm fighting a sneeze. So there are onboarding forms that they need to fill out, and one of them, if it's for social media, then it's a whole thing of, okay, what have you done previously? What are your existing channels? Where do you want to be? I ask a lot of questions, so you're tasked with answering things in advance. And because I'm an organized business, I use a lot of technology inside of my business to keep myself organized. So Trello is a free project management tool that I use inside of my business. I've been using it for years, like since day one. So I'm on year 7, right? So I'm on year 7, day 1. It's an incredible tool to help you organize, even if it's just the smallest of things, right? And so I get our clients set up in Trello. We get their conversation set up for I run 6 months. So I like to have at least 6 months of plan conversation ahead of time. And that also allows my client to interject and say, hey, we've got this change, this adjustment, this is new, this is that. We've got a new hire we want to honor. This person got an award for this. And so we act like that marketing team for our small businesses, right? Because they know they can come to us and say, hey, get this taken care of. And it's a flawless integration between my business and a lot of the clients that we serve, because they recognize how we perform for them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Very well. And I appreciate that you take control of that organization, because I've seen a lot of marketing companies where they expect the company to take care of the organization. It's like, that's not their job to be organized. And it sounds silly, but it's really not.
It's my job. It's my job, because and even if I meet a client that's like, I don't like tech, I don't want to use Trello, I'm not interested in your systems, processes, or procedures, I'll say, that's great. You don't have to. Here's my accountability. Every move we make, it's in front of you, because I'm very transparent. My clients have all access to their files. I'm very transparent, because you need to be able to run flawlessly, easily working with me, right? You don't need to work with a marketing firm, a design firm, a digital marketing firm that's difficult. They take a month to get my work done. They won't give me my files. I want a working file for this, and they won't give it to me. Why do you care? If you're supposed to be serving that person, then and if they leave, then they weren't meant for you. Bye. It's all a thing. If you can't be of service to your customers and pull that weight off of them and provide value, then you don't belong working for them. You're supposed to serve the people that you work for, right? Whether someone's doing my hair or taking care of my car or doing marketing for my business, you're expecting a certain level of being taken care of. And that's how I feel about the clients I work with. I need to take care of you because you have enough on your plate. And my job is to be support for you in your business.
Nice. I love it. So when it comes to kind of what you see as the biggest mistakes businesses are making out there, what do you see as kind of, oh, if you just didn't do this, you'd probably be way further ahead?
I see businesses not paying attention to their bottom line, or investing in spending monies with your bookkeeping or accounting professionals to get your numbers monthly. Don't do it quarterly. You need to know where you are every step of every day, especially if you have employees. And even if you're starting if you're a solopreneur and you're one person, yeah, maybe not so much, because you know what you have and what you don't have, right? But when it starts getting real and you start having taxes and 4 US employees, right? And all of these things you're responsible for, then you need to know your numbers. And I'll give you an example of something I didn't do because I didn't think it was necessary, because I thought I was too small. And so when I started my business, it was just me. And then I grew bigger and I had people knocking on my door. They heard I was working with so-and-so. Can you help me? Can you help me? And so I'm like, there's 2 degrees of separation between you knowing me and my industry and someone that knows me, right? And so when I first hired my first US employee, it was a friend, someone that I thought was my friend. I didn't think I needed to get numbers. I didn't think I needed to pull numbers about hours and things. And I had everybody salaried because I'm just the nice boss thinking don't need to be this, have these big business constraints on my teeny little business. Yeah, because I didn't ask for numbers, because I didn't think it was necessary. And when I finally pulled numbers after the full first year, that friend who never really did anything didn't do a great job. I was afraid to communicate my displeasure because she was a friend. So that got in the way, cost me $200,000 in lost revenue. Sisters. And I survived. And I learned it. I use it as a lesson for me, because she lost me $100,000 in billable income. She did not bill out a third of her time for the entire year. Do you hear that? So imagine, as a service-based business, one of your team members doesn't bill out a third of their time.
Yeah.
So I learned really quickly after that loss, her salary, and all the other pieces that I added up. You got communication issues, girl. You need to ask your bookkeeper for numbers monthly, girl. You need to know where your business is doing every second of the day, girl, because if you want this thing to continue, girl, you need to do the thing. And so if you don't think you need to get your numbers, or you don't think you need a bookkeeper, if anyone takes anything away from this today, please get a bookkeeper. Get a bookkeeper to work, get a professional, and not your friend Larry that does books on the side, like a professional, right? Because that is your first defense as a business owner. Someone besides you that tracks your numbers and can give you reports and the things that you need to do. Because of her and my interaction with my bookkeeper, I know that my salaries and where my numbers are in line with my industry and the things that I do, and not over the top or losing my shirt, right? And gee, my staff is now hourly, no longer salaried, right?
Yep.
Because I learned that didn't work for me either. And so those are some big lessons that I learned, and that I would pass on to any other business owner, irregardless of what you're doing. Your numbers are always going to tell you the truth. In science, in mathematics, in your business, in health.
Absolutely.
The number is the secret sauce. And how do you get your numbers? You get a bookkeeper. And I don't even have bookkeeping services. I just know how important it is. So.
Exactly. I love it. I hope you're preaching to the choir, but I don't think you are. I think people need to know that. And to me, it's super important to write out an org chart and to get your P&Ls from the very get-go. And your org chart looks like these are all the job positions that I am doing. And this is my first hire. This is my second hire. Like, you have to plan that out ahead of time. Otherwise, you get into the forest and you're like, I don't know what to do now. Somebody take over on my job. It's not how it works, and that's not going to work.
Well, you know what it is too, is like, I'm at the point in my business where I'm at a hump level. Yep. And so I'm actually talking to like a chief operations person to come in and help me analyze each of one of the staff members that I have, see how I can shift workload around and hire my next staff member that actually does the lower end of some of the things that my higher end people are doing, so I can free up time accordingly. And I know that I'm done fighting that fight on my own. Nice. And I've been actively looking for a professional to help me, because there are times when you run a business that you need to put down your ego. Mm-hmm. You need to put down that sword and go, I need help. And it's okay, because there's not a guidebook that's like 101 business. Here you go. And it's perfect. There's nothing like that. And so we're all feeling around as we go. Yep. Right. So sometimes
business is like raising a child. There are elements that are similar, but they're not the same.
Exactly.
I love it. Yes. And anybody out there, you need an online business manager, get a hold of Benita. We'll talk about that in another episode. But in a moment, I'm going to ask you, Alicia, about a Cinderella story of one of your clients. But before we do that, we're going to take a pause.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I am super excited to hear about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
I would love to tell you that. I have a client that I work with, and they've been a client of mine for about a year and a half. Family-run business, and I'm dealing with the daughter, right? So I'm in a male-dominated industry dealing with this one female executive at this business. They needed a full rebrand of everything. Their logo that was 50 years old, right? And she's going, they're never going to let me change that, right? A website that was non-existent, collateral that was outdated. And so she was tasked with rebranding that business. And I remember when she came to me, and she's like, and I'm like, you need a new logo. And she's like, I don't think I'm going to get buy-in. I don't think they're going to like it. They like what they like. And I was able to produce something that not only did she get a yes right away on, but it's so noticeable that every time that they sponsor an event or we go to an event, their logo pops off the page of next to everyone's. They'll be next to like 100 logos or 50 logos at an event. And there's just one of the snazziest on there. And so because of those extra features and them turning 50 years last year, that also won them a lot of accolades. So, all the rebrand and the things that they did and the organization they are, they've gotten accolades inside of the industry for rep of the year for some of the manufacturers they serve. And even this female that I serve got the cover of a magazine last year. Her and 2 other clients of mine, 2 other females. It was a magazine about the powerhouses of women in the PVF space. And 3 out of my 4 clients is on the cover of that. And I just was very humbled by that because I help people get noticed, right? I help you get noticed. I help you have your best foot forward because you're too busy selling, and that's my job. And so it brings me incredible joy to be able to really spruce up a business, take them to the next, 50 years or 25 years or whatever that business needs to be, keeping everybody respecting the family chain and the things that went on, and just to have them, they love me and I love them, and they're a client for life, right? And so that's a success story for me because they're still winning accolades, right? So it brings me joy to get my clients noticed.
Nice.
I love it. Story.
I love it. I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
You can easily find me at aliciabranham.com or getbrand.com. Those are 2 different websites of mine. Also, if you're an Instagram person, you can find me at The Real Alicia Branham. That's another way. And if you're a LinkedIn person, Alicia Branham, just straight out, you can find me. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I have fun on Instagram, but I'm business on LinkedIn.
I love it. So, peeps, all of Alicia's links will be in the show notes. Go ahead and scroll down, open up in a new browser because we're not done yet. So, Alicia, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know you're especially kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur because that was kind of my family's journey. My parents were entrepreneurial when I was growing up. They owned a lot of apartment buildings. It was real estate, but there was always some side thing going on as far as that was concerned. And I actually think it just runs in genetically in my family, because I had a great grandmother named Rosa that somehow acquired a bunch of real estate and property in Uruguay, where my dad's from, and acquired all this wealth that was been passed down from generation to generation. I'm like, I had a grandma who did what? And so I think it's just part of my DNA, right? And it's just part of my DNA, I think. And so I was always wanted to, and I finally took the leap in 2017. So I'm never going back, ever. And I'm sorry I waited so long.
I love it. You've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
Don't be afraid to take that leap. Don't be afraid to do that next thing inside of your business, right? Don't be afraid to, the money that you don't want to spend on something, I promise you're going to spend 3 times as much fixing what you didn't spend to do right the first time.
Oh, yes. So true. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Alicia. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Peeps, thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.